Breaking news here, and it's really bad. Daniel Dubois has apparently been taken ill just 2 days away from his fight with Joseph Parker. It seems he's going to be medically assessed, as you would expect, and based upon that assessment, he will either be allowed to box or deemed unfit to box, assuming he actually wants to go ahead with a fight himself, depending on how good or bad he's feeling. So potentially a real blow for this card, and this is coming off the back of Floyd Schofield pulling out of his fight with Shakur Stevenson the other day due to illness. Now, if Dubois Parker does go ahead, then surely there's going to be a lot more people picking Joseph Parker to win, thinking that Daniel Dubois might be physically compromised in some way. So I'll keep you guys updated on this situation. I'm hoping the fight goes ahead because I don't want this card to be diminished. But I guess the bigger question here is what's going on in Saudi Arabia with these guys pulling out on fight week? It's unusual for fighters to pull out on fight week. It does happen, yes, but for 2 fights on the same card with boxers pulling out, what are the odds of that? Now, regarding the Floyd Schofield situation, a lot of people were speculating that maybe Schofield had overlooked the fact that there would be a check weight 3 days before the fight, and that he maybe tried to crash his weight to get down to the check weight, overdid it, ended up in hospital. And my way of thinking was, well, maybe they tried to get down to the weight, but when they realized that they couldn't, rather than taking the rap for being unprofessional and maybe losing opportunities in the future, having a black mark against their name with the Saudis and so on, rather than having all that happen, try and blame it on something else like being poisoned and point the finger at Shakur Stevenson. See, what you need to understand is if you take a fighter at a weigh-in and took them to a hospital to be medically assessed and didn't tell the hospital that this person was a boxer getting ready for a fight and he was weighing in, if you didn't tell them any of that and you just told them to check this guy, they would tell you that he is dangerously dehydrated and they'd probably put him on a drip and give him electrolytes and so on. So my suspicion was, well, to try and save face, Schofield and his dad checked themselves into hospital because in Saudi Arabia, they're not as familiar with this process of fighters severely dehydrating themselves before a fight. Check themselves into a hospital and try and make it look as dramatic as possible so that they can sell this idea that he was poisoned. You know, the picture of him in the hospital bed, he's got wires attached to him. They're not actually tubes. They're not going in his mouth. They're not going up his nose. Wires attached to him. And his eyes are closed as if he's unconscious or something. My suspicion was, yeah, that's a bit of theatrics. Yes, he's in hospital. Yes, he's severely dehydrated from crashing the weight, trying to make the check weight. But Schofield and his dad are just exaggerating it, hamming it up a little bit for reasons I've already described. That was my thinking. But now that Daniel Dubois got ill, I'm having to reassess. Maybe there's just a bug going round in Saudi Arabia right now, in Riyadh. Maybe that's all it is. There's a bug. Maybe it's food poisoning or something. Maybe it's something to do with the weather because right now in Riyadh, it's quite cold at night. And yes, these fighters are coming from the British Isles. It's winter time. It's going to be cold, right? But maybe they were expecting it to be warm in Saudi Arabia. And I don't know, that was a shock to their system somehow, for Daniel Dubois anyway, and Floyd Schofield. So it's all up in the air at the minute. I'm speculating, obviously. You guys are all speculating. But bottom line is, it'd be a real disappointment to me if this Daniel Dubois-Joseph Parker fight doesn't go ahead and doesn't take place on this card. Real disappointment to me, and I'm sure many of you guys as well, because a lot of people were picking Joseph Parker to win. And as I say, if the fight does get the green light, then there's surely going to be a massive late surge of money on Joseph Parker. In fact, I might change my mind on who's going to win the fight if it goes ahead at this stage. I might have to pick Parker. I was picking Dubois all along, but this would make me question things for sure. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments section below. Give me your take on it. Don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I'll catch you guys on the next one. I'm out.